Welcome into Game Changers. We're back from the road.
Wait a minute.
Finally
so
back.
The training camp's over.
Yeah.
Preseason games are over, and they already got a bye week? Huh?
That's the way it goes, Bo. New NFL Players Association.
You know those dog days at camp,
They had to have time to get the party in. They had to have time to get the player party in.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? Rest, recovery. Everyone get ready for week one.
Okay,
you want everyone as full strength as.
I don't know, Goldie, you and I are ready to go, right? You're ready to go.
What they really should do is just play.
So you're taking this week off, though, right?
Of course he is. Of course he
is.
is.
I'm taking tomorrow.
Therein lies.
They should just play a fourth preseason game, and just for the rookies and the undrafted guys, and let all the starters. Oh no, they did that in the third game. That's
we'll talk about the preseason. That's actually how we're going to end this show. But we do need to talk about the Dolphins because obviously they have cut down their roster to 53 players. And when you look at the breakdown by position, only 4 wide receivers. We know.
Well, there was 10 when we started.
I know. There was 10 when we started. But Odell Beckham's on the PUP, River Craycraft on IR. They're taking some hits. But my question to you, and I'll start with you, Bo, is with 4 wide receivers on the roster, who stands to benefit in that offense? Does someone emerge as a maybe star in the making coming out?
Cunio comes up with the questions within the questions.
I'm going to give you a couple of guys.
Yeah.
First guy to me would be Jonnu Smith.
I knew you were going to say that.
I think Jonnu gets in there. I think Jonnu gets in there. And then Jalen Wright, the running back. I think he's going to get, because look, we saw him in the preseason catch some passes, and so I think they may be able to build him into that running and into that passing game. But I think Jonnu is the guy that really is the guy that's going to, and maybe Hill, the 2 tight ends. Maybe they use those tight ends. Look, the third guy is going to be either Braxton Berrios or it's going to be Malik Washington, one of those guys. And I don't see either one of those being a guy that they're going to lean on at the beginning of the season. Yeah,
the second Odell Beckham went on PUP, I went and picked up Jonnu Smith off the waiver wire on my fantasy team.
You're on top of it.
You could have done that a month ago. I told you a month ago. That
you did. No, you actually said it like 5 months ago.
I got him for free.
Right.
Goldie,
this is what you do with your time off?
Yes.
You're on the waiver wire in your fantasy league?
This is what I do when I'm working.
Oh, this is what you're working?
That's why
you hear that, Leo?
Here,
He's on fantasy.
Leo's off.
Speaking of off.
Did you already have your fantasy draft?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Who's your QB?
Who's my QB? Who did I pick as my QB? Lamar Jackson.
Pretty good.
And Tua was my backup.
Wow.
Ooh, a backup.
Yeah.
Two is the backup.
Bye week.
What, are you in a league by yourself? You got Tua and Lamar? Who else is in this league?
I drafted quarterbacks high, apparently.
Okay. Yeah. So I agree with a lot of those guys. And Jonnu Smith is going to be a factor.
Yeah.
This was something that Mike McDaniel probably, in conversations with John Embry, who he respects a lot, who coaches the tight ends. But I'm telling you, that Devon Achane has lined up a lot at wide receiver during training camp. I love Jalen Wright. I think as the season goes on, he's going to be bigger and bigger. You got those tight ends. We're seeing Julian Hill. He'll be involved. But for me, it's that guy. Devon Achane in his second year is ready to go. He can fly. And Mike McDaniel is probably a kid in the candy store this week and next week trying to figure out, probably already has, these packages where you put them out wide. I think it is meaningless that they only have 4 guys listed as wide receiver because of all the guys that you said, Bo, and I'll throw Achane in there.
There could be 3 or 4 packages for 3 or 4 guys that would fit into this offense.
So I think it's meaningless that people are discussing it like it's an issue. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they only have 4. But split down the middle between what the 2 of you said, with Achane going to catch more passes, Jalen Wright maybe gets more carries. So I really like how it's all going to spread
I think you're
out.
going to spread those carries around pretty evenly, even with the rookie out there.
Any surprise cuts for you over this week?
Blake Ferguson. I'm going, whoa, what happened with Blake Ferguson?
I imagine he comes back.
He's coming. I think there's just like, let's do something else. I'm going, Blake Ferguson, what the heck is that?
Interesting. There were a couple guys. I'm a little surprised Jack Driscoll, maybe he comes back. They picked him up from Philly. They were moving him all around on the line. But I'll tell you this, and Tua was joking around when he spoke earlier this week. When they asked him about the offensive line, he said, brother, it doesn't matter. I get rid of the ball so quickly. Everybody else always worried about the offensive line. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm not saying. The Dolphins, from the GM to the coach to the quarterback, are not as worried about the O-line as a lot of other people are.
The one guy I thought Maitre was going to squeeze.
Oh, Jason Maitre,
Isaiah Johnson.
I thought he was going to.
Well, you knew it was Duck, Maitre, or Johnson. One of them.
But I thought he was going to squeeze in there in that thing because Mike talked. Everybody talked about him glowingly from week 1 all the way through training camp. They gave him a lot of opportunities. He made a lot of plays. So I thought I imagine he's going to be on a practice squad unless somebody picks them up.
And they can pick them up, by the way, you go in the practice squad. Yeah. It's like being a free agent. Anyone can take you anytime. And it just shows, once again, the Miami Dolphins scouting, their college scouting, does a great job. This is every year Mike McDaniel has been here. Undrafted guys make this team. And in some cases, guys actually have a big factor, like a Julian Hill.
That's a good problem to have. They've found all these guys. All right, let's move over to the college ranks because we got a big week in college football for Miami and Florida. Goldie, I'll start with you because you're going to have college football in your mind. I know you're going to Boone this week. Who does it matter for more? Florida or UM in this opening week? Who needs this win more?
The Miami Hurricanes should win. They need to win if they're going to go where they want to go. You know, and look, the Gators, I think they'll be a decent team this year, but the Miami Hurricanes have huge aspirations. Their schedule broke out nice. It's not that difficult. We say that every year and they lose 4 games, but they got to go up to Gainesville. And if you're going to be a national contender and the program is really going to take a step forward, I think they got to win that game. Billy Napier and the Gators, they could drop that game. They have so many opportunities in the SEC to win big games. The season goes on. They go 9-3. It's a terrific season, I think, for them. The Miami Hurricanes need to finally, everyone says the U is back. If the U is finally back, go out and prove it and do something big. And for them, even though the Gators aren't a great team, it's a real tough setting up there in the swamp. I think the Canes need to win.
Well, look, if I'm Mario Cristobal, I'm showing them Florida State and Georgia Tech in Dublin. Saying, hey, Florida, a lot of bravado going in there. Hey, we're the favorites. We're just going to roll over this team, and look what happened to them. They're out of the national picture right now. And if Miami doesn't go up and beat the Gators and beat the Gators convincingly, they're going to drop a notch down. And if they lose, they're out of the picture.
Hey, Bo, you notice the Florida State guy, by the way, Mike Cunio,
keep him quiet on that.
Did not bring that game. You know, Cunio, I'll just say this about the Noles. Okay? If you're going to sue the league, you better win the next game that you play.
Listen.
Like they sued.
We're not talking about Florida State.
You sued the league, and then you lost to Georgia Tech.
Listen. We can't talk about ongoing. There's
two reasons I brought them up. Because they stubbed their toe in the first game, and Miami should show their players that's what could happen. The other point is, I just wanted to get a dig on you.
I know you did. I do want to make a point about this Canes-Gator game, though. It's not an ACC game, so Miami can still, even if they lose, they can still go out and win the ACC, still get into the college football playoff. This means so much more to Florida because their schedule is the toughest in the country. If they don't get a win here, the wins are few and far between. I just want to go the month of November, 5 games. Against number 1 Georgia, number 4 Texas, number 13 LSU, number 6 Ole Miss, and number 10 FSU, wherever they're ranked now. But the month of November, they may go 0-5. If you're Alabama, you might go 1-4. Florida needs this just in terms of bowl eligibility because their wins are going to be few and far between this season.
Well, look, you think Florida has aspirations of being in the national championship?
No, but they just need to win.
Well, they need to, but they need to.
But look, Miami can
for their fan base. They need to show that they're becoming
Billy Napier.
that they're being an improving football team and not just one of these deadbeats that's going to be hanging around at the end of the season.
Right.
But who do they have in week 2? The Gators. You have that written down there?
I don't know.
Can't be anybody good.
Probably not.
No. That's a win.
Probably at San Jose State.
But Miami can still get where they want to go even if they lose this game. All right, still coming up on Game Changers, we've got Goran Dragic's farewell game. Should more athletes be doing stuff like this? We'll explain next. Welcome back to Game Changers. Goran Dragic has officially retired from basketball. Heck of a player. I think one day that number 7 ends up in the rafters for the Miami Heat. Yeah,
wow.
I think it does. Really? I think it does. Yeah, he's one of their better point guards in team
That's a whole nother topic for one day.
I think we've done it. I think we may have done it. Yeah. But he had a farewell charity basketball game to say goodbye to the game of basketball. He had Chris Bosh there. I think he had Nikola Jokic there. He had Steve Nash. All these guys playing. My question to you guys is, Bo, should more players do stuff like this, raise money for charity, instead of maybe the long, drawn-out goodbyes we see nowadays?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're, the greats are going to get that last season where everywhere they go, they're going to get a rocking chair, and they're going to get this, and they're going to get a truck, and all those types of things. But I think to do something like that, these guys are making so much money over their career. I think it's incumbent on them doing something like that and give back to both the community that they've played in the most,
right,
and maybe where they grew up and got their start in basketball, and maybe do a dual thing like that. But I think it was great to see somebody. And look, more and more players as we go on. Look, a lot of professional players in all sports have given back to the community. I think we're seeing more and more of it growing, and a bigger number and a bigger effect on what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I like something like this. Anything you do that's going to give back to a community is going to help. And my thing would say, look, a lot of these guys got into the NBA, got into the NFL, got into Major League Baseball, coming out of tough urban environments. Why don't you go back to those inner cities and help them get an opportunity, help them see a path out of where they're at. That, to me, would be the great place to invest your money, much like Alonzo Mourning did right here in Miami.
Well said, though.
That is really, I mean, you do stuff for charity. How can anybody have an argument with it? Here's my problem with it. Like everything else in sports, once the floodgates open, are we going to be having, like, in the NBA, like 10th guys on the bench having a charity game and hardly anybody shows up? Like you better be of a, Dragic is of a certain stature.
Yeah.
You better be of a certain stature. You can't be having
I think you got
games,
right?
You know, but you know how it is in sports. Once one guy does stuff, you know, can't only be the high-end guys.
Right. Well, okay. So Dwayne Wade, I remember his last year. He had basically the Mariano Rivera farewell tour, right?
I enjoyed that.
It was great. My only problem was, and Dwayne Wade's great. When he came back, I think it was to retire his jersey. It was like a week-long event. It was something every night. Great for the fans. But it's tough. So I like the idea of condensing it into one night.
It was as long as the DJI golf tournament, right?
It's golf weekend.
18 holes.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I like the condensed version. You see everyone out there, all the stars.
But you're still going to have the greats if they announce they're done.
Sure.
And I kind of like that because fans all over the league get to see the guy in person.
Listen, I was at...
And again, it's only, you see, this is the problem I have.
Yeah.
All this stuff needs to be reserved for the top guys.
Right.
Because if you start getting lower and lower down...
Right.
Now, how come Kim Bocamper didn't have the charity flag football game in 1986?
I didn't have that.
You did?
No, I did not.
Oh, I didn't think so.
Flag football is probably in every NFL contract, not allowed to play.
Because I didn't consider myself in that level. And you know, when you retire and you're only making $45,000, it's kind of hard to donate money to somebody.
You know what else is tough?
I was looking for people to donate to me.
You know what's tougher? When you're working and you're only making $45,000 to donate to charity.
Goldie, let's talk about the Panthers. Their new center ice meant to replicate the inside of the Stanley Cup. It's a lot of red. It's a lot of gold on the ice. Do you like the new addition there to Amerant Bank?
I love it at Amerant Bank Arena. I think that looks terrific. It's something unique, although Vegas did something like it. I forget what they put in, but they filled that thing in. So yeah, I'm all for making it a little interesting. I mean, look at that. It looks,
I think
it's different, and there's actually meaning to it. It's supposed to be a sunburst, but it's that design is what's in the top of the cup inside the bowl. I think it's a great idea.
I think it's great. Look, you know, we're still seeing the cup going around South Florida. It's still out there. It's still omnipresent. And you guys are getting ready to get started here in about a week or two. And so it's rolling right in. I think, look, why not? I mean, look, I'm glad because this is a Broward County championship. I'm glad that it's a Broward County Stanley Cup. And so you might as well celebrate Broward County with the Stanley Cup on the ice for the rest of this season. You know, and I'm going to be very blunt. I'm very happy for the Panthers. I'd be more happy if they could get me tickets to the season opener.
There you go.
But I'm very happy for the Panthers. What?
You guys.
What?
You were going to buy season tickets a year ago. You'd still have them.
We've been pushed out.
Look at Cunha.
I called Goldie. I said, Goldie, can you get me season tickets? He says, no, I can't do it for you.
That's not true.
I know that's not because you
guys,
gave me the sales rep.
I gave you both the lead to buy the tickets. It's still in discrepancy.
I was going to buy them, but he didn't want to sit in the upper deck.
It's still a discrepancy.
Okay.
It's the game changer's gift that will never.
Bocamper over here.
Is that his nickname, Bougie Bo?
Bougie Bo.
I sat in the upper decks for Game 5. And I loved it up there.
Yeah.
It was easy to get the popcorn.
Right.
You know, they got that little thing you just walk by. You ever say you walk in there and you don't even have to take out your credit card? Somehow it gets in your wallet.
Yeah,
you just walk
scan away.
It's awesome up there.
It's like when I take you guys to dinner.
When you what?
Never done that.
When did that happen? When did that happen?
Pump the brakes on that one.
I'd love it if it happened. Let us know where and when. We'll be there.
There's a Papa John's delivery counter taking us to dinner or what?
You didn't get the invite?
Yeah, the free coffee and the lollipops in the sports office. That's the Cunha dinner.
It's the effort that counts. Yeah.
He didn't even put anything in the car when we drove up there for us.
No snacks in the car on the way to Tampa.
No.
Well, you wouldn't have eaten. You were asleep 20 minutes.
I only slept for like 15 minutes. I was hungry. I mean, I figured maybe you bring some water, some apples.
We stopped for gas station pizza.
Don't be an Uber driver, because Uber drivers often have snacks in there for some of the good Uber drivers.
Yeah.
Not you.
Taking candy from strangers.
Well, you're not a stranger, so it was not a catered trip.
Still to come on Game Changers. Still to come on Game Changers. How one new Marlins player is making me feel old. I can't imagine what it makes these guys feel like.
Oh,
we'll be right back.
That's a shot right there.
Welcome back to Game Changers. The Marlins have a really cool story going on right now. Griffin Conine, the son of Jeff Conine, Mr. Marlin, is now up in the majors playing for the Fish, the first father-son duo to ever suit up for the Marlins. He's already got a triple. Yeah. He's got RBIs. He's doing great. So congrats to him.
So you look at him. You remember Jeff Conine?
Yeah.
You knew this guy was going to dress very nice.
Right.
His jersey's going to be tucked in. Everything's going to be in its place, right? Spitting image of his dad.
It's like turning back the clock to 97 and 03 all over again. But seriously, it is very cool. But it made me feel old because I grew up watching this Marlins team and seeing Conine again. He was Mr. Marlin, so it made me think: who is the athlete that had a son or a daughter who eventually made it pro? Where you went, oh man, I'm the old guy in the room now.
Yeah.
But I'll start with you.
Well, I tell you, this is I'm going to tell you why. Channing Crowder. And I'm going to tell you why. I played with his dad. I played with his dad for a year, and then I saw Channing Crowder come in the league, and I go, oh my gosh, I'm an old SOB, man.
and now Channing's got kids that are playing.
Right, that's why it is very old.
Yeah. So I'm almost to the point, and I think there may be somebody out there that I played against that's got a grandkid playing right now.
Oh, I know. We were joking in the sports office, like when you watch Cheers reruns, and you see when they see Yastrzemski on the TV above the bar, and Yaz's grandson is now in Major League Baseball. Goldie?
I do remember Yaz playing. I've been to Fenway Park. I'm going to keep it local as well. This was like 7 years ago. That's when he came in the league. When Matthew Tkachuk came in, I spelled Tkachuk wrong.
You did.
When Matthew Tkachuk came in, his dad Keith was an amazing player, and he was an American player.
Right.
And that's when they started going to they started going to the Olympics, like 25 years ago. So he was a big part of those U.S. teams, and he was hard-nosed and tough. Yeah. And now his kid is coming. Then there's another kid in Brady. So that's when I kind of felt like, hey, because Keith Tkachuk is not an old guy himself, but he's got his kids now playing in the NHL.
It's that family, by the way, stole I think the NHL season.
Dude, they are, and let me tell you, they are the nicest, most down-to-earth group of people from Mom and Keith that you ever want to meet. Obviously, everybody knows Matthew, regular guy, team no sleep after the cup and all that stuff.
3 days no sleep. Someone should check on him, by the way. I'll keep it local as well.
You will.
And for me, it's Frank Gore Jr.
Oh, good one.
Tough week for him, though.
No, he's on the Bills practice squad. He's good. He's good. Watching him, play high school football down here, then end up in Southern Miss, I think it was.
There you go,
and the NFL. That's crazy because sitting in the Orange Bowl, young Cunha was watching his dad beat up on the Gators, beat up on FSU, come back from a couple ACL surgeries to be a walk-in Hall of Famer in the NFL one day. To see Frank Gore Jr.
It's amazing the players.
Wow.
So when you first answered the question, I was going to say Lester Williams. Lester Williams from Carroll City, because when I saw, first of all, I saw him go into the NFL. And then I saw him retire from the NFL.
Oh, geez,
and I'm like, man, oh man, am I getting old?
I thought you might pick Patrick Mahomes, because didn't his dad play for the Mets?
His dad, he was a pitcher. He was a baseball pitcher for the Twins and the Mets.
I was trying to see
a good one.
Which
Pat
road
Mahomes is a good one.
Down. That was the one I thought.
Yep.
All right, we still got more to come here on Game Changers. The preseason is over in the NFL, but could it use some tinkering? We'll figure that out next.
Tinkering?
Welcome back to Game Changers. The preseason is over. It's one of my favorite times of year because I get to work so closely with you guys again.
Nice. You too.
Great job on the call, by the way, both of you. But there are a lot of changes going on with the preseason training camp. Bo, if you could change anything about this time of year, what would it be?
I don't know. I'd like to see him practice a little bit more in pads. Okay. That's all.
2-a-days?
No, not necessarily 2 days. Just a little more, a little tackling, a little so that first month of the season is not what training camp used to be. But other than that, look, I'm looking forward to 2 games. I'm looking forward to going down to 2 preseason games. I would like to see him go down to 1 preseason game and just do 3 joint practices and let's get on with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because if you're going to go through these training camps the way they are now, well, I don't see what the point of it is, to be honest with you.
Wow. All right,
I thought he was taking a shot and say change the sideline reporter. I thought for sure he was going down that road.
For it.
But we appreciate that. I like it the way it is, to be honest with you. You look at these guys, and not just selfishly because we do the games, but like a guy like Storm Duck, makes the team. And I think a lot of that is because he had those opportunities against different teams to go in there.
I agree with that.
I still think from the evaluation standpoint, and again, I know we're talking about guys 51 through 69, which is the practice squad, and maybe 2 spots a team. I know we're not talking about anybody that's probably going to have a big impact, but I think from a coaching standpoint, I still like it. The joint practices are good as well. But I still like, I think 3 is a good, 4 was too many, 3 is a good number. You're right, Bo. Whether it's next year or in the next couple of years, we're probably going down to 2, and there'll be 18 regular season games.
Less than a minute to go. I would just add one thing. I think it's fine the way it is. If you want to go to 2, that's fine. Let's televise practices. That's where I'm at. We've talked about this a little bit. Yeah, if you're going to have less games, give us. The NFL blows everything up.
Yeah.
The combine.
The combine's on. Why not?
The pro days.
Joint practice.
Joint practices. You're going to have them. Throw a camera on it.
Yeah, no
have
doubt.
some reporters out there doing it.
No doubt.
I think
Look at you looking for another job already. Add to your.
Keep them checks coming.
Dude, you talk. Please. You're talking to the king. The king and the prince right here. So
I learned from the best.
What's after Prince?
That makes me the court jester here. That's fine. Okay. That's fine. Host.
Well, you can juggle the better it is. Right?
That's right. All right. Thanks for watching us on Game Changers. Hey, the NFL's back
next
week. College football's back. Should be a lot of fun. It's going to be a fun season. We'll catch you next time.